What it do, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the SSDD podcast. I am your co-host, Patty Daddy, and this is
And this is lovely gentleman over here to your right is your host, Sacramento Garcia. Hey guys, welcome back. As Patrick mentioned before, this is the SSDD podcast, or the same shit, different day. We've enjoyed having you guys listen on in and give us your feedback. If you guys want to send us any questions and have it appear on the show, Patrick, where can they send that to?
you can go to our Twitter, SSDD underscore podcast. That's where it's at SSDD underscore podcast. And our Instagram at SSDD underscore POD pod.
And we hope in the future to be able to continue this for you guys and create a great community for all of us. And today we're tackling on a topic that has been around for a long time before we were born, that it's affected a lot of people, and it's separated a lot of people. And the topic we have for today is racism. We talked about on the previous pod that both you and I were different ethnicities. You were black and I was Mexican. So we've seen
I wasn't black. I still
you are black. You are black and I am Mexican. But we've faced two different sides of racism, but we've both felt the racism, upon us.
Yeah.
So I guess, we'll just start it off easy. What have you had to deal with in your life?
I mean, first off, I just want to say I'm mixed. I am half black, half white. I'm blight, not whack.
Interesting about that is that you kind of sometimes get it from both sides,
Yes,
because
that's
you're not enough to be in, but you're not enough to be out.
But it's like the one drop does it. I've always heard that my whole life. The one drop does it. I remember once I was taking a test, and there was a where it says your ethnicity and stuff, and it said my name and everything, my birthday and everything, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, miss. This isn't my test. It says this belongs to a black student. I'm black and white." And she's like, "Oh no, baby, it's the one drop does it." It's like if you take some milk and you add a little chocolate syrup in it, it's you gotta put on the ingredients. It's like you gotta say it's chocolate milk, even if it's one drop.
That's a great way to put it. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I have more than one drop. Yeah, it's pretty black.
I mean, when I saw you, I'm like, he doesn't look like one drop. He looks at least 90%
Hey,
drop.
There's a lot of chocolate syrup. But as far as experience, I've never experienced the movie racism, but a lot of stereotype, a lot of judgment, I would say. Like when I was growing up and I was younger, I probably went to 5 different elementary schools. My first school that I really went to was in Third Ward, Blackshire Elementary. I don't know if I can say that, but Blackshire Elementary. Shout out Blackshire. And it was a predominantly black neighborhood and school. So when I would go there, although I was half black, a lot of people they would just they'd be like, "Oh, you white."
Right.
Because they're gonna spot out the difference. They're not gonna spot out. That's why I definitely believe everybody a little racist, but not hating, the hatred racism, not
Right.
that part. Everybody's a little racist because they're still gonna spot out the differences,
Right.
You know what I mean?
What's funny to me is that regardless of skin, gender, or whatever, we're still human beings.
Amen.
That's what we all classify as. We're human beings, so we should be able to treat each other with that respect, that we live in this world together, not
Amen.
against each other. We're not here to live against each other. We're here to live together.
Amen. If you cut open my skin, it's gonna bleed just like yours.
Exactly.
Even though you're a beaner, you should bleed beans.
The thing is that the same thing as you, I'm too white to be classified as a full Mexican. They look at me and they automatically think, oh, that's a white man, or some people say that's an Arabic man.
Oh, you do look a little Arabic.
That's what people say to me. And it's because sometimes when I don't keep up with my hair or my beard, it does take, a little crazy, and it does look like salam alaikum. How you guys doing? My brother, please. But it's I feel that sometimes I feel like I'm never too included into my raza, my community, and
Mi raza, mi raza.
that's funny that we've shared that. We felt like we're in the middle of it, and I think that's where I resonate with you on that. But I'm sorry. Continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, like I was mentioning before, like I went to the predominantly black school, and they were just like treat me like I'm white. They were like, "Oh, this white kid." I wasn't really like bullied by it, I guess. Like they just would mention it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, yeah." And then the next school I went to was predominantly Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
But I can pass for everything. You ever heard of the term swirly?
To be honest, you look like you can pass for anything.
Like
Like you can look like you have a little bit of Japanese in you.
oh, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
No, I don't think I need to do my ancestry tree or something.
Yeah, that's true.
What's it called? 23andMe, where you can find out like what percentage you are.
Yeah,
of
23andMe.
everything.
23andMe.
Okay, because
that's not an ad plugin,
Oh,
but if
no,
you
yeah.
guys want to sponsor us, we welcome it.
scratch that. No, but like I need to do that because my mom, she's told me like the history, like from like her dad's side.
Mhm.
Oh, that reminds me, my late rest in peace, grandpa on my mom's side, was very racist, believe it or not, and like he would make us call like he would call us his I can't say that word, but his little glitz.
I was gonna say press the button over as soon as you put it, like just.
Yeah, he'd make us call him like white grandpa.
What?
Yeah. I don't remember him. It's vague in my memory, but I remember we would go to his little. I think he had an RV, and I remember him be like, "Can I say the word niglet?" Oh God. Yeah, because yeah, he would that's us. But yeah.
No, I mean it's funny because
for real. Can I say it's like Piglet, but not with that.
we are an explicit podcast, and it does show that in the beginning that this is an explicit podcast. So please listen at your own will. But it's funny that you say that because I always feel it does come from the older generation. Like the younger generation is more accepting of our communities, willing to come together and listen because everyone does have a story. Everyone has lived a life. That doesn't mean, you should deny that from other people. And I feel like in older generations, it's always about respect this and respect that. And they never gave those people a chance. And so, it's crazy seeing that they've held that in for so long. And then when like they finally say it, you're like, I never knew that about you. I always pictured you as my grandpa loving me and things like that.
Oh no, it's straight out the wound.
Straight out the wound.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my mom wanted to low key like prove something. Like, oh, I'm not racist. I promise. Because my mom is very white, but she doesn't act it.
So your mom is white and your dad is black?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mentioned that. Just to go back, rewind, probably like 2 minutes into the show, I said, my mom is white and my dad
I did not catch that, and I'm over here just
I'm over here throwing all of it. I keep throwing my mom is white, my mom is white, and you're like not catching it.
What's funny is that I'm full Mexican.
Oh,
both of my parents are from Mexico.
Well, beaner.
But my mom has whiter pigmentation than my dad. So
spend a lot of time up north in the winter.
I don't know.
Utah.
Anywho, back on track to what you were saying. Well, I'm sorry, I cut you off again.
It's okay. I like your sidebar. Because mostly in school, like the schools, like, and then the predominantly Hispanic school that I went to, I look pretty. I guess I could pass for Puerto Rican. Um, so I guess like people just they would come up to me speaking Spanish, and I'd be like, "Oh, mi español es muy mal." So
¿Y qué tal, papi? ¿Por qué no habla español?
yeah, mm, Gesundheit. Uh,
Gesundheit.
yeah. So but like I can adapt. I feel like that's why I feel like I can really adapt to no matter
Mhm,
what the scene is because
mhm,
of my upbringing.
mhm.
Uh,
You can go to a
so,
golf club, country club, and you'll fit in just
oh,
fine.
probably
And you
not.
can go up to, you can go to downtown in the middle of the night and you'll be fine.
Oh. Okay, now you're proving my statement wrong real quick. But yeah, I thought I could, but as far as schools, I guess I can get along with kids. They're a little bit more understanding, and like you mentioned before, like adult, like the older generations is really where you have problems with
Mhm.
more racism. But it's 2023, guys. Wake up! Like
Yeah.
we're
We,
human, the
oh, well,
human race.
we're a human race. Yeah. There we go.
That's what we is.
In school, for me, it was more my name than dealing with actual racism.
Sacramento.
Sacramento. And it's funny is that it actually came from teachers sometimes. Yeah.
Not the racist
Well,
teachers.
it's just weird. No, it's not. I never felt it as racist towards my name. They were always just they would say, "What kind of person would name their kid Sacramento?" This is straight her words because she was doing roll call and then she came to my name and then she's like, "Sacramento? What kind of person would name their kid Sacramento?" And then I'm like, "Do I stand up after that? Like, because that's embarrassing."
Do I say present after that?
And so I kind of just said, fuck it. This is my name. I'm proud of it.
Amen.
But the thing is, when I did stand up, she's like, started laughing. She's like, what a funny name. Like, who names their kid after a
She
capital?
bullied you.
Yeah, she was bullying. Like I said, I
I
didn't
would
feel
have
it
told
as
the principal on
racism,
her.
but it was like, the stuff that she was saying about my parents, like, it was almost like saying that, oh, of course it's the Mexicans that name their kids, something crazy like
Shut
that.
the heck
And
up.
I was just like, so when it comes to school, that's how I've dealt with racism really, but other than that, not much. But in real life is where my parents, I guess it's mostly my dad. My dad is very dark skinned.
What's his name?
My dad's name is Sacramento Senior, and I'm supposed to be
No
Junior.
way.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be Junior,
I'm a I'm a junior as well.
but they didn't give you Junior.
No, I have the junior,
It's
but
legally in your name, Junior.
yes, but I'm technically not a junior because my dad's name, his middle name is spelled with two N's and mine is spelled with one.
Interesting.
But on the birth certificate, he put his name was with one N as well. I don't know how that translates. Maybe there was a mix up in like the hospital when they were typing it
Must have.
out. But I know I'm a junior. The whole name except for the N is the same. But my legal middle name is it has one N, and
Mhm.
his legal middle name has two.
Huh. So, do you feel like, I mean, has your dad told you any stories of, that he's experienced in his life with racism?
About race? No.
My dad just told me, um, when he was younger, when he first came in here, he would always have trouble with, people giving him jobs because, he thought he was the term wetbag, beaner, was thrown a lot back then in the early
Strawberry
2000s.
picking beaners.
Mhm. And so, um, he would bring over his brothers from Mexico as well, and they
Mis
told me
hermanos.
mis hermanos. And so one time they were doing a job at an apartment complex, and one of the neighbors of the apartment complex just kept staring at them once they first arrived, and then it was like around lunchtime or something like that. He decided to go have a word with them, and he was just saying just vulgar things like "go back to your country." This is an old white man.
Dang.
Go back to your country. Um, just absurd stuff. Beaner. Just like the rudest things you could think for Hispanic people. A lot of people you've seen it like in videos and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, my cousin was there, and they couldn't understand English because they just barely got there. But my cousins and all of us, we understood English good. Look at that. I have a whole bunch of running notes that we could understand. So we were telling him what they were saying, and they were like, "Why is he so mad? Like, what's going on?" And so the
You're
management had to,
stealing our jobs.
and
I'm
so
like,
that's basically what they always said. But it's always the jobs that they never wanted to do in the first place. That's why
period.
we had it. Um,
Have you ever heard? Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Have you ever heard that slavery would have lasted so much?
Oh,
That's
it
funny.
said slavery. They said if Mexicans were involved in the slavery, it wouldn't have lasted 400 years. It would have been 3 summers.
They would have knocked out that cotton field so quick and for cheap.
You see how we worked on strawberry fields? But management had to get involved.
Mhm.
They had to send the guy back to his apartment, and we finished the job and left. And it was just another day that we couldn't get anything done. Um, for us, we of course we had to get the job done and everything like that. And then they just expected us to leave. It was never really they had our backs or anything like that. They were just like trying to de-escalate the situation, and that was it.
Because at the end of the day, they're gonna be like, he lives there,
Yeah,
so we gotta respect him.
exactly.
And yeah, that sucks.
I mean,
It's usually old white men.
it usually is. And
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to sound like we're
refer.
flipping the book onto
Yeah,
them, but if it's only coming from one certain ethnicity, what do you want us to do about that? Because that's exactly how you're picturing us. It's always that certain ethnicity. It's always that certain group of people.
dang, we're being racist? We're racist,
I mean,
guys.
there's only one way to fight it, and I don't think it is with racism. I think it is with kindness, because that just angers them even more.
What's Selena Gomez say? Kill him with kindness.
Kill them with kindness. Yes.
I like that song. Yeah. My like elementary school, like I went to 5 different schools, like I mentioned before, and it was I went to a predominantly black school, Hispanic school, and then I went to a predominantly white school. And at the predominantly white school, they were like basically the opposite of the black school. They'd treat me like, oh, it was like, oh, his hair's not straight, it's curly, he's black. Like,
Oh wow!
yeah,
Like
like I
straight
don't
up
know.
with it.
Well, not like that. Like there, it's just one of those things. Like they wouldn't consider me white, and I mean, like fair enough. I'm not just white, but
So it was kind of more like of an outcast.
no, I made friends really easily. I'm a funny guy, but it's just a matter. And kids, they're easily influenced by like their parents, especially when you're in school. So if their parents are racist, you'll definitely see
Mm-hmm.
that through their actions. But through like mostly because you spend more time like at school, I guess, or half your time at least, the majority of your time at least at school, like you're gonna start to learn to live with that versus like what you're used to at
Yeah,
home.
like they think that's okay because
Yeah,
it's coming from their parents.
yeah. Or I'm actually saying quite the opposite. I'm saying like even though they learn from their parents like about racism and stuff, like when they go to school, their teachers teach them the complete opposite because there's other kids at the school, so they want to promote like no
Oh, I see what
bullying
you're saying. That
and
they're okay.
no yeah, like the anti-bullying stuff and like we're all human beings.
No, I think I just saw a TikTok of that old character, Static. What's that? Static guy? Static Shock. You remember that TV show? He was like he had electricity as the power.
The Jamie Foxx?
No,
Oh wait.
it's like it was an old cartoon. It was a black character. His name was Static Shock, and he had a white friend, and he wanted to go hang out into his house and have a sleepover for the longest time, and the white friend was hesitant. One night they finally got over and they hung out, and they were going to have dinner. The guy's dad came home, and you could see that you could see how his friend changed his face, like kind of like he was scared to show him to his dad. And lo and behold, his dad was actually racist. That's why he
Yeah,
never wanted
dog.
his friend to come over, because he was embarrassed of his family.
That
So that's what you're saying, right? No
yeah,
matter if they are
like and that's what I feel like Um, that relates me to like my mom's story. Like her dad was very racist, and that's the household that she grew up with. But she just loved chocolate, so that's how that's how I came about, and my siblings came about. Um, because he can't like once you go black, you
Sorry.
can't go back. And she's I guess she's like very anti-racist. Like sometimes she'll even go and above and beyond and be like are you looking at me because my children are half black? Like, no, mama. She just trying to buy her grapes at the grocery store. Like, yes, that lady look a little racist, but
She's just
give
trying
her
to buy grapes.
the benefit of the doubt. She I feel like she tries to defend us a lot. Um, and maybe
Sometimes you kind of have to in this
yeah,
world
maybe she
because
got used to it because of the neighborhood she used to grow up in. Maybe she dealt with a lot of um racism, but she never really shares those stories except for the ones that I experienced. But I
did
try
you
to
ever
be.
tell her what happened to you at school?
I don't think I. Oh well, I lived with my dad for the five schools that I went to. I was back and forth between my mom and my dad, but like um never really had a. It's not really. I wouldn't call it racism, honestly. It was just like what's the word? I can't think of it. It's not racism. It's disc discrimination,
Discrimination.
but not even like a full on discrimination. It's like a what's that called? Like a mild. Like I would, because people have gone through so much worse. So like I'm a firm believer of like people have gone
Yes,
through so much
we
worse.
have
And
seen it go pretty like bad. I
yeah,
will agree with that. Like I've seen it and I've stood up for it as well. Like that isn't right. You can't be doing that. And our stories, like I hope it doesn't offend anyone. Like, oh, that's not what it feels like and things like that. We honestly we know what it is because our parents lived through it. I'm pretty sure your dad has lived through it. My dad has lived through it, and they kind of like we've seen how bad it is, and we know that we got to stand up for each other and help each other. And I think that's what it showed us now in our mentality is that we can come together and not fight each other. But did they ever teach you that at the schools?
about about
Coming
unity,
together, yeah, unity,
unity,
unity.
unity
It's
is
all.
always it's everywhere. Like they want they want they want us to be a great big happy family because we're all human at the end of the day. And even in like even when I went to middle school is when it was like more diverse, believe it or not. I moved out to I that's when I moved with my mom actually. I moved with my mom and she lived in Southwest Alief, Texas, the
Mhm.
squats. I went to AMS, Alief Middle School, and that's probably the most diverse school I've ever went to because that's probably the first time I really um experienced like the Asian ethnicities like the Vietnamese, the Philippine. I wouldn't even Philippine is that Pacific Island? I don't know,
It's
but
all. It's part of
it's
it.
pretty Asian. So
Sorry, guys.
we're
As you can
wrong.
tell in school, our geography is not that good.
Yeah. But I wait because no, I was really good at school, but like I never really experienced the Asian culture. I wouldn't say I was racist towards them. I was very
I had a lot
open.
of Asian friends.
I had yeah, my best friend actually in middle school. His name was Sean Vo.
Sean, shout out to Sean.
Shout out Sean Vo. I believe my best friend in middle school. Um, and he was very Asian. We were, and his brother, his name was Patrick Vo. I think that's how he was. 'Cause my name was Patrick too. So
That's how you guys
yeah,
got the
no.
connection.
I met Sean first. Like that.
Oh,
That's my
okay.
boy.
That's my
Um,
boy.
but I don't really know what I know. I'm pretty sure he's doing like something with jewelry.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah,
Nice.
he's real big into the jewelry. Shout out
Big
Sean
chilling.
Vo. I don't know what his handle is, but I wish I could shout you out, Sean. Go look up Sean Vo. Go get you some jewelry.
Some jewelry.
And I mean and part of the like and I know Asians get a lot of race
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if we think about it in the bigger picture, I feel like white people just thought they were
Superior.
superior. If we think about the Nazis, they thought they were superior.
The Aryan
But
race.
all of, just like the, Asians, blacks, Hispanics, a lot of the countries that have been here the longest, the longest.
Literally.
And, you look back, all the ruins that these three ethnicities had, like, we were the big part of the world, and some lighter skinned people thought that they were better than us because of how much we've already done. And so they took it upon themselves to kind of control us. And, we can't go back to what happened in the world, but we should learn from it. And, it's taken time up to now, 2023, to kind of have a closer unity, but I still think we're so diverse.
We're not there yet. I'd say 100 more years, and we still won't be completely there.
You know what bothers me is Congress has the Republican and the Democratic, and we're called the United States. How do you call ourselves the United States if we're already separated and where it matters the most, where we have conversations of what our future looks like
and beliefs and everything like that?
Yeah.
Like we're two-sided.
Yeah, we're literally separated at where our definition lies at. We're in two parties, and then even then, there's still third parties and four parties outside of Congress that don't have enough money to make it in there. Lobbyists, liberalists. You never see those people when they're up, voting.
They never make it to the.
They never make it. They don't have enough money, and it's crazy that we're called the United States, but to be that there's a lot of people here. I always encourage that. I admire that. I have a lot of people from Samoa or Tonga that are good friends of mine. I have people that I've known from Nigeria, Senegal. I've met people from all the way to Brazil, and that's where my wife's family is at. And over there, you literally have Japanese Brazilians. You have darker than most average Brazilians there, and then you also have white ginger Brazilians there. Like it's funny because Brazil in the beginning is where a lot of the slave ships would go.
Yep.
And so that the fact that they have a lot of ethnicities there, it shows you.
It goes to show.
It goes to show.
And that's I never really when I think of Brazil, I think of like the 10 Hispanic / Portuguese people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that a lot of slave ships came from there. So there's a lot of African backgrounds. And then I don't know exactly how the Japanese culture, my wife, I think she has a better understanding of how that came to be, but there's a lot of Japanese culture in Brazil. There's Brazilian shirt from Corinthians, I think the Brazilian team, and it has their jersey, their soccer jersey has Japanese writing going down. I think that's very nice.
That is pretty cool.
One thing speaking of soccer or football,
you love soccer.
I've seen it. I love it. I've seen a lot of racism in that. There was this one game. I think it was Barcelona was playing, and their Brazilian right back Dani Alves was taking a corner, and the fans were the opposing team's fans were there, and they threw a banana at him.
Racist.
So one of the things that they would do to predominantly African players is that throw bananas, calling them monkeys and things like that.
That's
and what do you
racist.
think he did? What do you think that right back did when that banana was thrown at him?
Either A, shrugged it off, and
he picked that banana up
and
ate it. And what do you think happened after that?
Slipped on the banana peel. Like
no, bro. He threw in an amazing cross, and they scored.
Hey, yo.
So that's like the best thing on how to fight racism. He literally doesn't let it affect him, and he went on and he assisted a goal. And then I believe after the game, they talked to him about that. He's like, hey, what was your actions behind the banana? He's like, well, I saw it. I ate it. It didn't give me any cramps, so thank you for helping me.
Thanks for the potassium.
And so that just angered them even more, It just showed them that your words can never hurt me, you know?
Sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones, my boy.
Sticks, stones, and bananas.
Bananas.
Nothing can hurt me, buddy.
It's so sad because I've seen it a lot, and surprisingly, it comes a lot from the Italian league. Think about your past again, how the Nazis were working with the Italians. Italians are very racist people, man. Like I've seen so many stories where a lot of the black people that were playing there, specifically Mario Bonatelli, he's Italian with African descent, and they would just always like just shout like such racist comments at him. Yeah, and just making monkey chants at him, just like sometimes they would come from their own fans. Like
Dang.
that's like I'm playing for your team. Like I'm representing you, and this is how you're representing. You know,
It's like racism within the family, like what I was mentioning. Like, we're literally blood. Like our blood connects somehow, and you're still being racist. You're on the same team. We're fighting for the same fight.
I'm hoping that with the newer generation coming in, the willingness to more accept people, and that those people are going into positions of in Congress. I believe this lady just said that when she goes into it, that they're going to start instilling, or they're hoping to instill terms, because there's no reason an 82-year-old person should still be in Congress when you don't think that person is mentally strong enough. They have a whole bunch of health issues. They're taking a whole bunch of money, and they're not looking out for the future anymore. They're kind of looking out for themselves at that point because they know they're going to die.
Yeah, because they already have a certain bias too, because they grew up in a certain generation, in a certain time where certain things were okay, and like normalized, not okay, but normalized by the previous generation. So he or she is probably used to being racist without even like subconscious. Like,
did you know that the Pentagon has more than your average bathrooms? Because when they were building it, it was they had to have separate drinking fountains. So the Pentagon has a shit ton of bathrooms.
And then no lines.
No lines.
They should host games at the Pentagon.
Hey, dog, we'll see. Honestly, I think a lot of things have to change within our world, and it is changing. And I think it does start with the younger generation.
Amen.
Because if we don't, honestly, and come together as human beings, I don't think we're ever going to be able to last in this world with it already dying.
I mean, we can go to Mars.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think they're going to want to take us. So
no, they're not going to take us. They're only the white people.
Yeah, yeah. Only the white people, the strongest people.
Only the blonde hair, blue eyed, blue-eyed dragon. You can come too.
What else did you have on your bullet points? Was it? I think that's all I had for myself as well. Like I said, we didn't have too much that's happened to ourselves, but we're people that like to listen and hear the stories that have come before us. Like for instance, my father has told me a couple of things that have happened to him. I think maybe if you ask your dad, I think he might have something for you. Maybe something that he's hiding from you, that he's choosing to become, to show that he's strong from it. But honestly, I always think showing these emotions always shows you how strong you are. Yeah. Hiding your emotions shows you how weak you are. I think being open.
But he's also older, so you know how older men are. Like he's in his 50s.
It took me a while. I think still with my dad, I think he's still hiding a lot of things.
I believe it. I believe it for my dad too. But like, I'm sure if I asked him about it, he'd open up. But like, why?
See, I mean. He probably is hiding, or not hiding. I shouldn't use the word hiding. He's probably keeping it to himself, is because no one asked him about it.
Yeah, maybe he's waiting for me to ask him.
Maybe. And so, like I said, we know that there's been a lot of hardship out there, and if you guys want to reach out to us again and talk to us there, and let us know your stories about this topic, of course you can. We're on Twitter at SSDD_podcast, or on Instagram. What's the Instagram, Patrick?
At SSDD underscore pod. That's
right?
SSDD underscore POD.
And you guys can catch us every Monday. And we'll be here for you guys if you and we're gonna come together. I think that's what we're trying to build here as a community, to kind of just have a same shit, different day kind of a vibe.
Kind of vibe. Same stuff, different day.
All right. I've been your host, Sacramento, and
Your co host, Patty Daddy.
we'll catch you next time.
Adios.